When you look at this screen right here and see what I have prepared moving forward, does that not just make you happy? Because I love business, right? I love talking about this stuff. But today I'm going to be showing you guys how to close and get clients as a growth operator. So, first of all, we got a lot to go over, all that stuff. But let's start off with who am I, right? So like why listen to my advice and what have I done, right? So first of all, my name's Carson.queck, and my last video that I posted was, just starting as a growth operator, right? That doesn't mean that I haven't been doing this necessarily, but I'm showing a challenge from 0 to 100K as a growth operator and what it takes, right? So here's a little bit of my background. I ran ads and I owned a marketing agency, did SMMA for businesses, did it for coaches, did it for a couple years. Then I got into e-commerce at towards the end of my, agency career, and I scaled up an e-commerce brand. It ended up going really well. So that's when I got into not just helping coaches, but coaching for myself, right? So then I started selling a course and a mentorship and a community, and I ended up scaling that to 40K months. Um, and as you can see here, this is my page. I went on Andy's podcast. That was whenever I was talking about, my own course and Etsy drop shipping, stuff like that. But now, I help online coaches and course creators absolutely blow up. So this isn't new to me, but I started this journey of calling it growth operating, right? Like I've been building landing pages, CRMs, running ads, and doing everything behind the scenes for coaches and various different coaches for a long time, right? Even when school dropped, I was doing school build outs for people too. But as a growth operator, right, 3 days ago, whenever I posted that journey, I started outreach like 2 days before that video, and in that video, I ended up closing our first growth operating client, right? Now, first, I just mean for, again, the channel, for the series 0 to 100K per month, but it only took me 3 days, and this is the strategy that I highly recommend, especially if you're starting from scratch. Now, if you're like me and you've already kind of had experience in different things and I don't have a massive brand, right? But if you have a huge brand, obviously all that stuff helps. And, obviously having credibility, if you can, if you have connections and relationships and they're on your Instagram page, that helps a lot too. But first of all, what is a growth operator, right? Growth operator is partnering with an influencer or online coach, course creator to leverage their brand and make stacks, right? So if you have tried in the past, or if you want to get into making money online and you don't know yet, one of the hardest parts about making money online is growing a social media page, right? And like being that influencer, getting attention. Now, with this term and this business model, which it's always kind of been a thing, but with how it's structured now, it's like an all in one package rev share instead of upfront fees. That's the biggest difference for me. Everything that I did was an upfront fee. And now I'm getting into rev shares, which I like a lot. It's pretty cool. But the hardest part is getting attention online if you want to make a lot of money. So when you work with a creator who already has followers and gets a bunch of attention, it makes it a lot easier to run an offer. And your expectations for the creator that you'd be working with is that they would post on all platforms, right? YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And you'd prefer it to be educational content, right? And I'm going to go into what niches you kind of want to work with because, I mean, in the beginning, yeah, you'll pretty much work with any coach that you can close a deal on, but you'll see that the time and work, you still get the experience, but some niches you just can't scale, right? What else you need from them is for them to run the coaching calls inside the one on one mentorship or do group calls. And you also need them to push all traffic from social media to the offer that you build out. Okay. So, as a growth operator, what do you do? In your role, you're taking care of setting up backend systems, infrastructure, their CRM, automations, payment processing. You're nurturing their email list. You're also building it with lead magnets, and then you're building out funnels and VSLs. Obviously, the coach has to record the VSL, but you're still building that page and also scripting what they have to say. You're also telling them the strategy for social media because a lot of coaches that I've worked with, you see they don't have like a specific niche, but they still have people that want to work with them. So if they really niched it down, then they would absolutely blow up. Which niching down is super important. They don't need to be completely niche down when you find them, but you want to make them niche down, right? It would also help with customer support, onboarding for anybody, depending if you're running high ticket or low ticket, getting people into the group, or if people have questions. Um, you would also do the hiring for setters and closers, which in the beginning, you're not hiring setters and closers, right? Like if you get your first client, my recommendation and what's most realistic is you have to do that yourself. Like you need to call their leads, you need to get on sales calls, and you need to get good at selling everything. Like if you're not going to sell a coach that you can be a 30% partner, 50% partner inside of his brand and you can't sell. You know what I mean? Like you got to be able to sell. And yes, that might be uncomfortable, but if that's uncomfortable, then good luck being a growth operator because there's a lot of different networking and relationships that you have to make and go through to be successful with this, right? So you need to be closing the coach's deals when you sign them as a client. Offer structure, pricing, high ticket, low ticket, mid ticket, and setting up, telling them what to do for the one-on-one calls, stuff like that. You also need to run and optimize their ads, which you don't just drop an offer and then run ads the first month. You don't even know if it's going to work. So what you need to do is drop an offer, primarily a high ticket offer. It's most important to test an audience. Most people do it backwards, but I'm going to go into depth why that's not the case here in a second. But you don't run ads until your client's already hitting 10, 20, 30K months if they're small, and then much bigger than that if they're a large creator. Right? So what do you need to be a growth operator and to actually get clients trust you? You don't need a massive brand and following. You really don't. But you do need a brand and following. Like you need something, right? Like no one's going to trust you with a 0 follower Instagram account with no profile picture that just DM them. I literally get 20 of those a week, right? And I don't have like this massive following and I just get spammed all the time, right? My opinion and something that really worked for coaches that I've worked with and what really worked for me personally, even back when I very first started selling a course, e-commerce, is showing your face. And obviously you have to know what you're talking about, but you need to show your face on your profile. And I'm going to show you like the difference here in a second. This is if you're starting from scratch. Some of you guys might already have a brand and want to rebrand into being a growth operator. No, that's a whole different story. But when you're setting up your page, right, you need to show your face in your profile picture so people know you're a real person. Your bio needs to say what you do so people aren't confused. You need some followers. If you make a new account, you can buy. I would probably buy like 1,000 or 2,000 followers. I wouldn't go crazy with it. Um, if you want to, I mean, cool, but they're gonna know you bought followers anyway. So just whether you buy 1,000, 2,000, or 10,000, it's not really gonna matter. But the two types of posts that you need to be making on this account, which you can just go slap them all up in one day, I guess. But I would really just try to post once a day, and kind of build the page and just be patient. But you need to be posting lifestyle content if you can. Like if you've taken trips, if you have cool pictures, you out with the boys, you going to Miami or some cool spots, that's great. Alongside that, or if you cannot post those pictures because you're broke and you've never, had any of those experiences, I understand. I've been there. But what you need to do is like the talking head content. And this helped me a ton. I cannot stress this enough. When I did this with my course, ridiculous. And it's not for getting views. The content's not for getting views. It's for when you send out cold DMs and messages and people click on your profile, they want to see like that you know what you're talking about and that like that's what you do, right? So when they click on a video and it's you willing to put your face out there and you're talking about your niche or topic, dude, it helps a ton. I did that bunch with Etsy drop shipping, and it literally changed the game from for my cold DMs, like completely different. So, like I said, make your videos not for views, but to educate cold DMs that you send. Again, you're not trying to blow up your page, get a bunch of views. Like you're trying to educate people that you're sending DMs to, so then they follow you. And now, if the deal doesn't go through, then they're following you, and you can keep posting content, and they come back, down the road. So here's what like a typical solid page. Like this is a good page for a growth operator, but I would say this usual. I also have a ton of growth operators that reach out with no profile picture, no post, and like barely any bio, and they're trying to sell me. And I'm like, bro, like we do the same thing. I don't know why you're trying to sell me, but cool. So as you can see, he's not really showing his face. He does have some lifestyle, which you know, don't know if that's really him or not. Doesn't really matter. I build and scale info products. Cool. This link in his bio didn't actually work, which if you're going to put a link in your bio, make it work. This is what I would consider good. Guy's not necessarily, I don't know if he considers himself a growth operator, but he works with brands and scales them. So at this point, everybody like this, which was me before this, is now considered a growth operator because that's what it's known as, right? This guy's page, even though he has less followers and stuff, also buying this blue check mark is low key worth it. Like, why would you not? But he one for one has more posts, 7 posts, 56 posts, so people can really go through his content. And it's him actually talking. And this kid is 16, bro. This kid's a killer. He was like trying to sell me in my DMs, and he's actually doing really really good. He started when he was 14, and he knows what he's talking about. And he's way ahead. So this guy's a killer. He's gonna do great. I got no affiliation with him. I don't know him. If I couldn't see his name right here, then I wouldn't know his name if you asked me it. But he is a killer for real. So if you run into this video, good job, bro. But let's go into finding clients, right? So for outreach, right? Finding leads, how you're gonna find them, and what to say when you cold DM them, what to do after that with a Loom video, how to book a call, close on the call, send and sign contracts, start work, stuff like that, right? First of all, customers spend money to make money. So no one wants to spend money, not no one, but not a lot of people are going to spend a lot of money on fitness, self-improvement, beauty, confidence, stuff like that, right? Like the mogging groups, the you whatever. I don't even know about all that stuff. I don't even have TikTok, right? So y'all can get way ahead of me if y'all are going through TikTok and finding coaches through there. You know what I mean? I've never downloaded TikTok, but you want to be working with people in the make money online niche, right? So day trading, crypto, side hustles, social media marketing agencies, e-commerce, credit. If people are going to work with coaches that are going to teach them to make money, they're more willing to spend more money. No one's going to buy this $2,000 fitness program compared to, a day trading 2000 program is pretty common, or like e-commerce, or, definitely for agency stuff. That's super common, super common. These are the niches of the coaches that you want to be working with. You can screenshot that if you want. So how are you going to find these creators? Okay. First of all, you can go through TikTok, follow a bunch of people. Again, I said I'm not really on TikTok. I've never even downloaded TikTok. So I'm not going to act like I have the best strategy for you guys on TikTok. Find it somewhere else. But I would assume that it's like Instagram, where you can just follow coaches in a niche that you want to teach and go through their following, like people who follow them. And then you're going to get recommended more coaches like them. So that's exactly what you do on Instagram. Follow coaches of the niche that you're looking to go into, and then you can click on their profile, go through people that are following them, who are they following. Usually it's going to be kind of linked a little bit, and then you're going to start getting recommended pages that are like theirs. So it's literally like giving you free ads and stuff that pop up, that is going to literally be coaches that you could work with. YouTube is really really good because there's some people on YouTube who have 1,000, 2,000 subscribers, and their Instagram's like 3,000 subscribe or 3,000 followers. and you can find their accounts on YouTube and then go to their Instagram, and like their Instagram's not like that big. So if you never saw their YouTube, you wouldn't want to work with them. But someone who has 2,000 subscribers on YouTube and good content that's niche down, dude, they can blow up an offer. So like that's still a really great coach for you to work with, especially in the beginning. You want to find people that's they're not getting spammed in their DMs already. So anyone with a couple 100,000 followers, still shoot your shot. You know that like that's how you run into a client where you make the big bucks. Still shoot your shot, but this is really good. So if you make a new account for this, sub to coaches that are in your niche, subscribe to coaches in your niche. It's the same thing as Instagram. It's going to start recommending you videos. Go through like the recommended page as soon as you open up YouTube. Mine right now, if I opened it up, I guarantee you it would pop up with like 3 to 4 videos that are long form, like coaches teach you a niche that have like 200, 300 views because like that's being recommended to me now because that's the content that I click on and watch, right? So you can also search latest videos, like search up a niche and then just click latest because if you go by view count, obviously you're just going to run into the biggest brands, usually already have someone, or for some reason don't want to make money online with an offer. You never know. All three of these, though, are going to lead to you DMing them on Instagram. Okay. So TikTok, I'm pretty sure you can't even message people, and YouTube can't message people either. So, of course, you go find their Instagram, shoot them a DM. And what does that look like from there? Okay. So, first of all, before you reach out, make sure you understand the coach's offer. If you don't understand the coach's offer, then it's going to be hard to convince them to work with you. Right. So, DM about an offer you believe they hopefully they they do not have. Right. DM about an offer you believe they do not have. I've read hopefully before. But if you see that they're selling a low ticket offer already, then message them about their high ticket offer, vice versa. You want to and pretty much need to like literally pray that they're not running a high ticket offer. Because if they're a smaller coach, especially, then that's really the only way they're gonna make money. Like these small low ticket groups, they sound like such a good idea. And like I've been through it myself in the past with other coaches and stuff. They're so hard to scale. Like unless you have a massive brand or a ton of leads that didn't qualify for a high ticket offer, it's so difficult to sell. So you really want to start off with selling a high ticket one-on-one mentorship, right? And if they have no offer, that's of course really good. It's going to be hard to find someone who has no offer that has, that's in a niche where they're showing people how to make money. So like they're trying to make money too. So for them to have no offer, they would have to be an absolute gem, but they do exist. And obviously, you're looking for somebody who has no high ticket offer. And if they have no low ticket offer, here's what you're going to be saying to them, right? So if they have no offer or no high ticket offer, all you got to do, message them something like this. I just put this together real quick. This isn't exactly what I say personally or what I recommend you to say. If I put something that like I would say exactly, everyone would just copy it. Anyone who watched it, not saying like I got this, I literally just started making videos, right? So not saying it's going to absolutely blow up, but there's no point to make this like super specific, but just something along these lines. You could for sure be making 10 to 20K per month with a high ticket offer. Mind if I show you what I would do if I was you, right? Same thing with the low ticket offer. Are you doing anything with your unqualified leads? This if they're running a high ticket offer. You could for sure push a large part of your audience and customers into a community. Mind if I show you how I would do that? Okay. Again, this is not word for word. You can go ahead and use it word for word. I don't care. 10 to 20K a month is on the low end. So keep that in mind. If you tell someone with 200,000 followers and they're already a millionaire and you're like, yo, 10 to 20K a month, they're going to be like, well, I get 50 DMs that say they're going to make me 50 to 100K a month. And you're just going to look like a goober. So base this number off their audience and not just their audience, but how much perceived bread they have. You know what I mean? Like if you think they have no money, kind of tell they don't have money, they're just doing it for the love of the game. And 10 to 20K, fine. But if you can tell, and especially if they're trying to give off the vibe they're posting Lamborghinis and stuff, don't say 10 to 20K. Like if they have a big audience, if they got 3K, they're probably just bullshitting. But from here, what you're trying to do, mind if I show you how I would do that? If they say yes, like, "Oh, yeah, let me see." If they say no, leave you on open or give some sarcastic response, just dip, waste of time. If they don't really want the service, like, this is literally, like, the part where you're gonna tell if they can be your partner. It's not even, like, the closing call necessarily, like, this is the biggest part, the biggest transaction of the entire relationship. If they say yes to getting to either of these, right, then they're interested. Then you can send them over a Loom video, or you can just do an unlisted YouTube video, which unlisted YouTube video, they can be longer if you don't want to buy Loom, but they really shouldn't be going over 5 minutes anyways. Loom's super easy to use. A lot of people will do YouTube and they'll use like Miro board, which is what I'm recording on right now, which this is my first time recording on it, and I think it's pretty cool. So if you want to use it, sell customers and DMs, go for it. I think it looks pretty nice. Trying it out, you know what I mean? But here's what you need to do inside the Loom video or the YouTube video that you send over. You need to pull up their Instagram on a tab up top, right? So a lot of people they'll put you can see at Miro board if you want at the bottom. There's two ways to do this. You can either screenshot their page and an example of an Instagram page like the coach, that's another coach that's running a new offer that's killing it, right? You can either screenshot both those pages, put it on a Miro board, or you can just have it in separate tabs and click over while you're doing a Loom video. Like, it's not that deep. You know what I mean? So just open up a new tab if you're not working with Miro. Um, or Miro, however you want to say it. It doesn't really matter to me. But what you want to do, pull up their Instagram in a tab, pull up a similar coach, like similar audience size offer, or where that coach would want to be, show like, hey, they're killing it with this offer, right? Show what the other coach did, what the results he got from the same exact niche. Explain what you can help them with and what you help others with, right? So, if you have never helped anybody with anything in the online space, hopefully you're not riding solo in this business, right? Because it's going to be super hard to close. If you have zero experience, then you're probably not that knowledgeable on the topic. And I mean, even with myself, like I'm working with like not just a partner, but a great partner, right? Like I'm working with my guy Brendan from the Elliott Group, top sales coach there. We absolutely explode coaches. We've been doing this, right? Like that's what we both have done on our own. Now we're just absolutely gonna murder the game in growth operating. Best growth operating duo in the entire game. But as I said, you can do this entire, Loom video on a Miro board and just go through and say like you don't need a script, right? Like just go for it. Like, hey, this is your page. I think it's really good quality content. And here's another person who their content looks on the same level as yours. You both have 15,000 followers and 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. This guy just dropped a high ticket offer. I see, as we talked about, that you have no high ticket offer. He's doing 30, 40K a month with it. You're missing out on that. Like, you have the same audience. Let's kill it. And then explain them what you help them with, right? Which is what we went over at the beginning of the video. If you didn't screenshot it, you can go back and, screenshot it and then come back where it's like what all you'd be providing if you don't already know that. So then from there, which like I said, the Loom video, once they say, dude, I'm good for the Loom video, send it over without being sarcastic and stuff. Like they're super interested. So getting them on this next call should not be difficult. But when you are on this closing call, don't be trying to sell them necessarily, right? Because like you're doing a partnership, you're doing a revenue share. Like you're not charging them a bunch of money up front. You're going through business with them, and if they win, you win, vice versa. So make sure they know that. Now, the rev share is literally all that matters. Like when you're trying to do a deal as a growth operator, like the upfront fee does not matter at all. But it does matter at all. Like it does matter. It doesn't matter at all, but it does matter, and I'll tell you why. So it doesn't matter because that extra 1500, 3K, 5K, 500, whatever you're trying to charge up front, like that doesn't make a difference, bro. Like you're not trying to close these people for 1500 bucks. You're trying to get 3 clients that all rip 50 to 100K months and you're bringing home the big bucks. You know? Like all that matters is the rev share. But what I will say is I've seen a lot of creators and a lot of growth operators that get ghosted when there is no upfront fee. So I actually had somebody in my DMs like asking me about this stuff the other day. And he was like, dude, like I've closed 2 deals, but they both ghosted me. And I'm like, well, do you charge anything up front? And he's like, no. And I'm like, bro, you should probably start charging something up front, like literally anything. And you can't just be like, yo, send me $100 up front, because then they're gonna be like, well, this guy is broke. Like this is a baby business transaction. I thought we were trying to do big boy numbers. What are we doing? You know what I mean? So it's like, dude, at least like 1500 up front, I would say. And here's the thing. This also depends. If you have a big brand, it's going to be easier to charge up front, but also you're not going to get ghosted if you don't charge up front as much, right? So like you have better in both worlds. Now, if you have like this small brand, just made a new page, but you're posting some with your face, you're getting some interest. If you don't charge them up front, they're probably gonna ghost you. You know what I mean? Because like they don't lose anything if they don't want to like do the offer or work harder or don't think that it's gonna work. And if you're new to this, it might not work at the beginning, right? You're gonna need some type of training. There's so many people that are moving into this industry, and there's actually some killers in the growth operating space, right? So I have seen a guy who I think he's a good growth operator, and he's respected in the space, I would say. That's how I'd put it. And he doesn't charge an upfront fee. And if there's a lot of businesses that are trying to work with you, like if I was him, I would charge an upfront fee. That's what we do because me and Brendan, this is what we do. Like this is what we've done. We've blown up. Not only have I blown up my own brand, but blown up other people's brands. Brendan has literally worked with hundreds of coaches. Works at the Elliott Group, the biggest coaching, uh, the helping biggest business that helps coaches in probably the world. I don't know. Gonna throw that out there. Maybe, maybe not. But it's massive. That's what I'm trying to say. So, and we're charging up front because if you're small, charge up front, you're not going to get ghosted. If you're big and you don't charge up front, like it's just a smaller commitment when people are like asking to work with you. So either way, charge up front. That's basically what I'm trying to say. So boom, you closed them, right? And if you're they're not going to pay the 1500, but they do want to do the rev share. Worst case, move forward with the rev share. Like I said, that is what really matters. But boom, you close them. Now what? Now it's time to fulfill on your duties as a growth operator. I'm about to make a video on fulfillment and what that looks like. So, depending on when you're seeing this video, it's probably already out. If it's not, then it's coming soon. Check out my Instagram, the description. Hit me up, ask me any questions you want. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Get the fulfillment video out as soon as possible. Peace.